And it cut out again. Of course it did. We are live. Oh, and a whole bunch of brains together and can barely get the intro to work ever. The way it always is. Okay, we are live. We have a whole bunch of very intelligent, hardworking people with us tonight. We have Charles Crawford III, Charlie C. We have Mike with Faraday Research. We have Matthew Rife with us, and Matthew in a black screen. Myself, Bernie. We have Simon, who never shows himself but is always there with wisdom. We have Julia, and of course, Space Case Adam. How are you all tonight?
Amazing to be here.
Well, thank you.
Good. Very good. So, we're going to be going over Charlie's research first into the. I can never remember it as soon as I go live.
The Skull Association?
Skull Association. There we go. Thank you. And how fascinating that is. I won't even try to describe it other than paranormal dimension technology. Can't get better than that. And Mike's batteries. And then I also, thanks to the fundraising, everybody donating last night, your generosities made it possible for me to pay the stupid Canadian taxes and get the amazing donation by Rife, which we will be unveiling in the second half, the Rife coils.
Nice.
Right, we go into detail about what we will be doing with that. But first off, Mr. Charlie C., I will let you take it away, good sir.
Okay, great. Thank you, Bernie. So big news was, since last time we've done a live stream, I've now become an associate member for the Skull experiment and for the Skull Association. So I'm officially on their website and everything. I could share the screen. That shows that.
And you are in control of it, co-host.
All right. I got a lot of tabs. All right. Here it is. Yeah, how does that look? All right, so here it is, the Skull Association. The Skull Experiment Afterlife Research Association, or Sierra for short. I am now an associate member, and it's my webpage. So they have a lot of cool research they've done. I've helped mostly with the TDC, or Transdimensional Communicator for short. They gave a brief description here of what it looked like. So this was developed on film that was left in a container in a lockbox during one of the Skull Experiments sessions. And they later found out it was initial TA Thomas Alva Edison. And they compared it with his signature from old documents, and they were able to see that was his design. So this was the first design within the group that had this. They moved and they lost the original. It's in storage somewhere, but I had enough on the design to build one for the new group in Spain, and they had a research facility they were trying to create there, but they ended up not getting enough funding for that, so it kind of closed down, and the website's offline as well, so a lot of this documentation is hard to find now. But I made a video explaining how to build it, and I've got it here. Quick reference. I'll show a close-up later of it. But basically, it's germanium with 2 coils and a copper tape connecting the top piece here with a piece of germanium between 2 coils. And there's no power here, but it goes to an amplifier, which I'm using a karaoke machine, and a recording device just attached here on top. And some of the other Skull groups, they connect their phones now to it to play music during some of their sessions. They like to play some calming music.
Karaoke machine connected to it. What's your past relatives' favorite song, and are you gonna start hearing them singing it through that machine? Hey,
possibly. Yeah. Right now, they've only had noticed it being turned on and off in some little bit of noise coming through, but the original TDC, they were able to get like 15 minutes of pure voice coming through from Thomas Alves himself when they were first testing it. So there needs to be a little bit more the spirits do on their side to develop the energy to communicate through it. But he said the device was built correctly, and they're just getting there to communicate through it more. So this page goes more into that, and if anyone wants to build it, they could email me for more design on the designs. And I've got the documentation that I got from Robin Ford before he passed away on how to create your own circle. And there's people and groups all around the world that are doing this now, and they knew about this because even from the beginning of the skull experiment, they were able to talk with spirits that could kind of predict or see the future. And one reason they had to stop their testing was due to someone in the future taking energy from the past to get better results in the future. So it's kind of interesting, but it's promising that in the future there'll be more groups and more people interested in this kind of spirit science is what they're calling it. And the group, besides this, because it's really interesting because they do physical mediumship, so they're not just hearing voices, but they could actually bring some of the spirits into physical form that could feel, and they get the recordings and video recordings, but it's difficult to bring in electrical equipment into the seance room, so it has to be done under very controlled conditions and almost total darkness. But they also get a phenomena they call apports. You can maybe switch back to my camera real quick, and then we'll switch back to screen share. But these are two samples of apports, which are stones that were teleported into the room, and they appear with a thud on the table. And when they pick up, they say they feel a little warm to the touch. And this one is a moss agate, and we can look at some of the close-up pictures of that. And this is just another smaller rock that appeared, and they wanted to send it to me to do some chemical analysis on it, see if there's anything more they could learn about it, because a lot of these will appear in the room and they don't know why for what reason, but they know that they were testing some phenomena with being able to teleport objects from one place to another. So let me show this screen with some of the pictures close up, so I have a microscope that could see closer on it.
Nice. And it's all of like the parallels and synchronicities that a lot of different groups report these different crystals and stones appearing out of nowhere when working with these trans-dimensional forces, energies, technologies, and powers. And that, for instance, Nancy Hutchinson and John Hutchinson, in one of our past interviews, Nancy was showing a couple crystals that also came up that they said randomly appeared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, also other groups have noticed the same apports of similar stones, and it's more, so we can go more into the physical construction of it. So this one looks more like a moss agate I found from some geologists. And this is the kind of crystalline structure where it started. Originally thought it was like a biological sample because it looked like part of an antenna or like a
looks alive,
something alive, but no, it ended up being purely chemical. Even this part looks like moss or something stuck in the stone, but it is just part of the way it forms and its chemical structure, and nothing organic in it.
That's cool. That ties in a lot to my electrolysis experiments and stuff that I find growing off the anodes and cathodes. So even more fascinating to see it in straight minerals and crystallization of nature.
Yeah, some of that stuff looks alive.
Yeah, I thought so originally at first too. That's why I was excited to test it under a scanning electron microscope. I thought it might have been apported from another planet or another dimension. But I later found out from the geologist they explained it's a moss agate, which is doesn't contain any biological material, but it was known for lucky, soothing, and healing and balance. So I think that is more the purpose. It's not really the physical object that is interesting, but more like the emotional connection it has to it, which is very important when doing the circles, because they have to maintain like a mental, emotional stability throughout the whole seance and the whole mediumship, which could be difficult with up to 8 people in a room, a small room, and could get hot and uncomfortable, and it's almost total darkness. So they need a lot of help with that, and it takes many months, and many sessions to finally get this balance and understanding. So I think that's why these apports are important, because they help with that, and it's definitely encouraging to the mediums to see some physical evidence from their work.
Yeah, like it's amazing. It's a whole new paradigm of now giving a scientific backing and like platform and structure for all of these different formerly woo fringe sort of topics of like, oh no, there's many of us for generations that have lived these experiences and these realities of these different dimensional interactions and existences, but now we're actually able to provide a scientific, technological application and bridge to the mainstream.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You might have heard of some of the weird phenomena going on at Skinwalker Ranch, and that tries to connect the spirit and like the UFO phenomena into one. And Travis Taylor, which was big in the Skinwalker Ranch series, is now leading some of the UAP task force like at Arrow. So I think he has a good understanding, plus with his multiple degrees, and he's suffered some of the radiation effects of some of the phenomena going on at the ranch. I think he's more open-minded to connecting the two. So I think there's some sort of physical nuts and bolts to the UFO phenomenon, but also emotional and spiritual side of it as well. So they mentioned bringing home some of the effects. They call it hitchhikers. But actually, the skull experiment talks about the positive side of that. Actually, there's groups that would go to other groups just to get some of the phenomena that would happen in that group. So some of the remote voice would happen in one group, and just a medium visiting that group and experiencing it would kind of bring that home to them. And there's multiple stories of spirits that would, when they communicate with them in the closed room, and then still able to see what the person's doing after they leave the room and could protect them. So there was one person that was in almost a fatal accident, but luckily was protected by the spirits, and he didn't receive any injuries. So now he's dedicated his life to doing the skull experiment research, and he's been helping me a lot. And he helped put up the website. So
Nice.
it's really
That's
interesting.
awesome.
There's kind of two sides to it.
I just quickly want to interject, and Julia, your experience with remote viewing, have you ever experienced anything like what Charlie's talking about of like the hitchhiker energies and entities and stuff while traveling in the astral plane? Or if you can relate to that at all, it's a common theme I've heard a lot of.
Well, it's interesting. Like there's times where I've entered into a place and it knew I was remote viewing, and it turned around like slowly and I'm standing there and it's standing there, but it knew I was, viewing it. Like there's so many weird experiences like that. But yeah, there's a lot of but the person was hurt, like it saved it, like it helped them out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in this case, the spirits that were looking over some of the mediums, he was in an almost fatal accident, and he fell, and it kind of cushioned his fall, so he wasn't injured at all. And later, the spirits communicated that to him and said, "There's more things you have to do, and you can't die yet." So they wanted to protect him.
Absolutely, and that's what's fascinating too about like the near-death experiences, where they're like literally like the person. It was like they describe it almost like angelic and like a light being that, but was able to lift its head up, and say, look, you have stuff to do, you're not done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been reading some of the near-death experience books as well, and there's some recurring characters. There's like a hooded figure that will be commonly seen, and I don't know, and too many people that have seen that person or that being through remote viewing, but I know through the near-death experiences they do that, and you can see a lot of ancient pictures and drawing.
Right. It makes me think too of all the different types of beings I've seen, different lion-headed beings and even bird-like heads. And it makes me think like well, is this just like an advancement of showing an indication of where they are in their journey? Like they're this advanced, you could choose it, or the type of head of being it is indicates where they're at on the level, like a hierarchy thing, or it's just the tech that allows. Like I always think of like, well, how do you acquire that? You know, of it's almost like you know, is it tribal? I don't know. I just try to understand of why certain ones look that way and appear that way.
Yeah, the Egyptians, carved a lot with bird heads, animal heads, and the Native Americans had similar culture. So I think Jeffrey Mishlove, he's a doctor in parapsychology, and he's talked more about understanding these realms, and they're called psychonauts instead of astronauts that study space. Psychonauts study these worlds, and they're able to get back some detailed information about the beings and the maps associated with it.
I am a self-admitted psychonaut.
Yeah.
And
I love what you were saying about photography earlier.
Oh, yes, right. Yeah, like we showed with the drawing on the film, that was in a undeveloped canister that was still in the packaging in a lockbox during the seance, and the spirits were able to draw on it. So people could develop this skill as well while they're still alive, because we all still have souls while we're living. And it's called photography, where there's been psychics that could project their thoughts onto film and then develop it and then see the pictures there. And there's also new groups in China that's doing it to develop it onto digital mediums like cell phones. So they use their psychic ability to develop image on a cell phone. And you can search, go to your camera and look at the media libraries in there, and you'll be able to see some of the images that they project into it.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
Have they worked out any kind of the physics or anything on how this actually happens?
Now it's kind of a separate physics from the normal physics we're used to here in the physical realm. That's why they call it, spirit science, to say it's completely different than what we're used to.
So there's a fantastic video by Veritasim that I suggest everybody watch. It's of magnetoception with your brain. It shows how sensitive it is to magnetic fields and the changing thereof. Some people's more than others, but I think that's the fundamental way that telepathy and stuff like that works.
Okay, yeah, I've heard a lot about like the magnetic field and them reading on like magnetic waves and just different things of that. And I didn't know that's what it was. I'm familiar with the magnetic effect on the brain, but I didn't know that was in the spiritual realm. So I'm kind of wondering if your spirit's located in the brain.
I think they were trying to find some correlation even with remote viewing, and they had put the person remote viewing into Faraday cages, and to even get rid of low electromagnetic fields, they would put them in a submarine, and they did the remote viewing in the submarine, and they've done it in spaceships. But in all that testing, they weren't able to find any correlation between even physical energies with remote view.
Dan Winters always loves bringing up the fact that Axelrod, or whoever like the first famous one was that did the remote viewing for the CIA, he saw the Jupiter, Saturn's moons before the spacecraft got there or whatever.
Oh,
but
was it Ingo Swann you're talking about?
Ingo Swann, sorry, yes, thank you. Ingo Swann, yes. And that one of the experiments was Ingo Swann in a Faraday cage, and that he could still like remote view outside of it, and then like he was able to like affect the temperature of something, like raise the temperature.
Remote
of
influencing.
Yeah, he also did that with the
Outside
magnetometer as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
that's when the FBI and the CIA basically swarmed SRI Research Institute after he did that.
Like they even have the research of like a team of remote viewers that get together and then can affect the stock market and stuff, and would give them different things.
Yeah, that was the same group.
Yeah. But like, imagine, you could affect the weather, the things you could do when you have people who are able to activate these parts of their mind and their abilities, and you get them together and you go for a great cause. Like, hello. I'm interested in finding like a bunch of remote viewers and putting them together and doing some really cool experiments and getting together with people like you guys, that and combining forces, joining forces, and We could really
I've
do.
always been interested in trying to get remote viewing information from like another being from another planet, or maybe long ago, if their civilization that passed away, so their spirit might still be able to communicate with us and give us new technology for medicine, energy, and propulsion. There's been some history of in 1922 there was a group that did that, and it's called the Jensen Flugmaschine. A German group was able to get communication from alien civilization to build a device that they made. It was supposedly anti-gravity.
Well, we're taught like when we want to know something, you grab a book, you read a book, like read about it. When a lot of like profound things come from deep meditation, purifying your blood and kind of connecting to another realm and opening up that line of communication. And Tesla, they all do it. They all channeled. They all was able to get in that state of flow, and bam, that's the most profound insights that come in when you're able to do that. Mike talks about that a lot.
Sorry, Mike. I was just about to say, me and Mike have gone extensively into these conversations of our most creative, our channeled, and I'm gonna shut up and let you talk about it, Mike.
Yeah, exactly. Like the channeling, like you said, I had one major download. I like calling it a download because that's exactly what it was. And after the download, I had such a migraine headache after it, and I literally could not build anything for about 2 weeks. Whatever it did, it just messed me up. And about 2 weeks later, boom, everything came back. I was able to build circuits again and get going again. But whatever that download did, it certainly did something to my circuitry in my brain.
It's like it rewires your neural pathways.
It did. I think that's exactly what happened.
It reboots, it crashes it, and then reboots it with
an upgrade?
a new operating system. Exactly, like an upgrading info, and you have to process it all over again, right? Like you can remember it until you go to sleep, and you'll like dwell on it until you go to sleep. Then you go to sleep, you'll wake up completely drained, not remember any of it, and then it'll come back to you over the next few days, weeks, as you work on it and bring it back up and manifest it into physicality.
That was pretty much a marshmallow for 2 weeks after that happened. And then, boom, everything came back. I could build my circuits again. And my brain was firing. So.
And it's important to write down what you do, like what you ate, like what helped you get in that state of mind that day. Like, did you work out? What did you do? Because sometimes it's like we want to get back to that frequency that we were emitting then to get those aha moments of how we got in that flow state. That magical state.
Yeah, see, the state I would get in is in theta.
Yes, that's what I say. I literally, my breathing goes down to like so low. I get into this theta brain waves where I get so receptive, and then it all comes in. But what I notice is in my everyday life, if I like how it affects me to go into to stay in that theta brainwave, it kind of makes you so receptive. You got to learn how to not stay in it, Julia.
Yeah, because usually you're in that state just prior to waking up and just prior to going to sleep. So it's that transition from beta to theta.
Absolutely. And 40 hertz helps with that. And what's his name? Richard Allen Miller. He was speaking about how you put 48 hertz in one ear and 40 in the other, and it puts you in this like bam, like where you receive all kinds of information. Like it's the perfect.
Yeah, I've had experiences where I feel like I'm going into the vortex, and then I would see this green light come from the center of the vortex, come flying out, and that's the download. When I see that happen, that's the download.
And it's crazy how we absorb that too. Like what we see, like even just looking at a symbol, what that can unlock things within our DNA and our data, like what that means and what we actually retain from it.
Yeah, I've had some other really creepy stuff happen just after that download, but we could talk about that on another
I know.
show.
I should start a channel and like it's like the after show, like the real dish, like the psychic dish.
Yes, we are totally doing that, and you are doing that, and maybe I'll leave it running on Rumble, as we are also live on Rumble right now after we end on StreamYard. And if you feel like keep going, Julia, we can
awesome.
manifest that into tonight. And then the next next episode, you'll have your own channel and continue it going. Charlie, you got anything more that do you want to show off the batteries quick and stuff here? And
yes, good transition to batteries. Yeah, here's one of the designs from Mike. I joined his Patreon, so I saw this. It's using magnesium strip from yeah, you're welcome. And I forget the core. What was it made out of? A boron, carbon, graphite. Carbon graphite, yeah. And then just drill a hole, put a copper wire, that's bare copper, and yeah, I was able to get 2 volts. I did testing on that today, and I built 5. Yeah, just water. Yeah, but the only difference between your design is the ShamWow I was using instead of paper towel, so it absorbs more water. Yeah, and I was able to I've been powering this LED since earlier today. Let me zoom in on this. So we got 2 in series, it's kind of like getting 4 volts, and after it's gone down to like 3 volts, and then 2 in parallel. Yeah, about that.
Yeah. As long as they stay moist, you could get one of those electrolyzers that create the steam or the water vapor mist, and you can buy those for pretty cheap on Amazon. Just have it in a cup of water, and just put it on a timer, once or twice a day. It'll go on for 10-15 seconds to moisten it up, and boom, you got full power again.
Yeah, and this one I've been running, and it's just been collecting the air and the water in the air, I guess, one of Laser Saber's design, and it's enough to power this clock. It's a little bit bigger, and it's using magnesium core and copper cup, and it's done.
I have a good article in my YouTube channel under the community section, and I got a whole section, an article I wrote on the carbon graphite magnesium batteries, so you might want to check that out. I got a few articles I put up this week.
Yeah, I'm trying to build your new one that you coated with the carbon material and then put copper tape, and I'm going to use the ShamWow again. And then the magnesium same kind of strip. It's lighter, and the core is hollow using this design. Just a clear acrylic that I painted with that paint for the carbon.
Yeah, the carbon paint smells quite a bit, so you're going to do it in a well ventilated area.
Great. So I think that's about it. Did we want to go to do what you're doing, Mike?
Yeah, I've just been doing some testing tonight on the RPG reactive power generator. I'm getting some pretty good results. I've also been working on the new device. I'll just show you what I got going here. So I've been setting it up, painting the boards, just kind of doing the initial mock-up. Got all my components. I got to make a lot of coils. So yeah, I've been pretty busy with that. I'll be doing the coils tomorrow. And yeah, it's been an extremely busy week for me, so that's about it, really. Yeah, that's about it.
All right. We are live on Charlie's channel. We are live on Rife Technologies. Next week, we will also be live on Mike's channel. But since we are not right now, I might as well show off Faraday Research right here in the video section where Mike goes into detail on how...
click on the community at the top there, the top tab where it says community. And then scroll down and you'll see the articles that I posted.
Gotta like them all. Gotta give the thumbs up. Ooh, that's a nice looking image. See, I've been here before. Look at that. There's a pre-thumbs up. Pre-thumbs up. The articles are fair. Sick
That's
Mike.
an old one. Sick Mike.
Somewhere are these articles. Ooh, here's a good one. Testing the piezoelectrics.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the MRI device or MRA device that Norman Wooten. That's the actual schematic there.
Nice.
So that's what he was doing. That was the one that was seized by the government. So,
Snap.
and that's
Well,
my
glad we've been able to recover such files and stuff. More of the Physio.
Oh yeah, I've spoken with Norman quite a few times, so he's incredibly knowledgeable. Mind blowing.
So you explained already a bit the difference between your new batteries and then the version that Charlie's just
Yeah,
replicated.
it all just really boils down to the cost. The carbon graphite rods, the ones that Laser Saber was using, they're about 140 bucks, depending where you buy them. Like to have a 12-inch rod that's 3-inch diameter, you're looking at well over $100. So what I did was I eliminated the carbon graphite rod altogether, and I used PVC pipe and I used a carbon graphite paint. So I painted the rod and basically built it exactly the same way you would with the carbon graphite rod, without the rod. So Charlie made the small version with the small graphite rods. I'm finding the small version tends to have, I think, a little bit more current. I've been testing the big ones out. Looks like my smaller ones are actually producing a little bit more current. Now, it could be because of how much graphite I'm actually using in large cell. That could be a reason why. So I'll have to look into that more. But building costs, yeah, greatly reduced with the new version. So it's like $20, $25 per cell. That's the paint there. You can buy it on Amazon. It's $28.
Nice.
It's about $28 Canadian, so that's like $20 US maybe.
Oh, at that price, it might be worthwhile mixing it yourself. Basically, just an adhesive with the graphite added to it.
Yeah, you could do that too. Yep.
Yeah, and we're going to be going further in with the Hutchinsons, doing the next planning phase with them on Sunday, and then hopefully by next weekend, the next live on developing the crystal battery cells that they've been doing, and then essentially mixing it and combining it with what Mike's been developing here, and Charlie and others replicating and trying to eventually produce full battery cell units that people can make themselves that are completely rechargeable by water and everlasting at affordable prices. And it's going to take a few generations of models, but as we're doing it, within a year or two, there'll be actual advanced results, like just even what you've already come up with, Mike. It's quite impressive.
Yeah, it's like anything. It
And Charlie.
takes a lot of time to develop, right? It's a concept. Like I come up with the ideas, concepts. This came from Laser Saber. He did this well over, I think, 13, 14 years ago now. So I've just kind of taken what he's done and just try to run with the ball and try to expand off it. So yeah, it's like anything. Like the RPG I've been working on 5 years. I've been working on these over Unity devices since 2005. Started off with the HHO stuff, Brown's gas, and just kind of started from there. You start small. So right now my baby is the RPG. So
Nice.
So
Yeah,
I
look
did
at
some
that.
I've done actual resistor tests where the actual load I hook it basically a dead short of 1K ohm resistor. And within a matter of about 10 seconds, that resistor went up to about 200 C. And I had to shut it off because I thought I was going to fry it at any second. So yeah, it does create a tremendous amount of reactive power. So what I've been trying to do is try to get that reactive power and make it into real power. by using a capacitor. So this one here is 80 volts at 4,000 microfarad. And I could get a pretty damn good bang out of this thing as soon as I fill it up. I can get it up to about 60 volts in less than 20 seconds. And if I dead short it with a screwdriver, it makes a pretty loud bang. So that's, trying to, oh yeah, it scared my wife. She wasn't too impressed with me when I did that. But
I'd say you
go
got
ahead.
probably 2 more of those loud bangs before you don't have a wife anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to chance it. Yeah. So
Man, that's really
yeah,
good. Like that voltage that you're pulling out is nice. What's your power cell that you're running off of on this?
the power cell. Well, see, the reactive power generator, the motor runs on a voltage, not current. That's the basis
Yeah.
of the motor. The current is being created within the motor itself. Um, Basically, it's kind of an advanced version of what Joseph Newman was doing. A lot of these devices, even the Bedini motor, the Robert Adams motor, Joseph Newman motor, they're very similar in a lot of ways. Where it kind of differs with Joseph Newman, he uses a lot of high voltage, but very, very little current. And because of this, he's able to generate the current and the power inside the coil itself. You don't need the current on the input. The output is where the current is needed, and that's generated within the motor coil itself. With the back EMF, I've introduced the piezo transducer to that circuit, which also gives it a gain, and it creates a huge amount of reactive power. So if
Yeah.
people don't
So
understand,
you were explaining the piezo, or you were just explaining to me how you put the piezo in there. You want to tell anybody else like how you put it in? Because I was checking it out. It's really interesting.
yeah, you can hook it up with any coil. So it's basically when you hook up your power cable from positive to negative on your coil, the piezo would be right in the same configuration, positive, negative. So when the coil is triggered, back EMF bounces out, hits the piezo crystal. The crystal has a huge reaction, and I'm still trying to understand exactly what's happening in there, but it's basically like a firecracker. So that effect bounces back into the coil again and does it at such a rate that it gets that coil into a harmonic resonance. And that's when the voltage shoots through the roof. That's why I'm getting such a huge power gain. And if I take that piezo out of the circuit, I lose about 70% of the power.
So, what
Yeah. So
frequency
whenever,
do they run at?
Right now, I've recorded on average about 70 to 80 hertz. So it's not that high. Sometimes I get it up a little higher, about 100 to 120. But I'm getting consistent AC voltages of about 118.2 volts at 170 milliamps. So, yeah, that's well over 20 watts right there. And my input
yeah.
voltage, I'm only putting in 2.5 to 3 watts tops.
So on a piezo, on your crystal, I've been doing a lot of testing on this. Do you know what your cut is on it and everything else? Because that's going to have a lot to do with how much you can boost and exactly what's happening.
Well, this one's rated at 60 kilohertz at 40 watts. The two crystal plates that are there, they're about, I would say, about a 1/4 inch thickness each, and they're 1 inch diameter, and they're separated between two plates of copper, one on the anode and the other one on the cathode. So I've actually got myself jolted on it a couple of times, and it doesn't feel good. So yeah, it's quite a violent reaction, and when that gets hit with the EMF off the coil, wow, what a gain! It's night and day. It totally transformed my circuit overnight. So and nobody's doing it. That's
Yeah,
the thing. Nobody's using it. I'm like shaking my head because there's a couple guys out there who have replicated exactly what I've done, and they're getting the same results. So I don't know why people aren't using them. They work. There's such
What
a
was interesting to
substantial.
me is like, okay, these batteries that you're showing that you made, you have your magnesium, you have your graphite paint, and you have your copper that you're grounding out with. You was talking about it goes 5 degrees Celsius below ambient temperature.
Right. Yeah. So that's the reaction with the air in the magnesium when it's starting to oxidize. That process it drops the temperature. Now I thought it was just because of the water itself, but I put warm water in it, and irregardless of I put room temperature water or even warm water, within about 5 minutes that the temperature of the cell just continues to drop. So
Well,
I
see,
actually
and
put
that's what I was talking about. I thought it was because of the water vapor that it was cooling it off as it runs. But you think it's the magnesium where it's dissipating heat?
Yeah, if you read the article that I posted in the community section of my YouTube channel, I have an article on that. It actually talks about that, what's happening. So there is a cooling effect, definitely, with the reaction with the magnesium, with the water, or whatever kind of electrolyte that you're using. There is a cooling effect that's going on. So, which is kind of interesting.
I'm interested to see what it would do if you did run a couple of my coils nearby and you're possibly ionizing the air at a certain frequency. If you can resonate it with that battery cell, hook it up to an oscilloscope and do that.
So what I did was I hooked up the two cells together to this little LED light, and then I took my EMF meter, and the meter started going off. So the LED light's actually creating a pulse in the battery, which I found kind of neat.
Yeah, because you're also climbing at the same time. Like you're climbing on electricity going up. So I would think that if you, I got some stuff I'm going to send to you for next week if you want to try it out.
Right on. Sounds good. I gave you my address, so yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, there's so many things you can do. So you're really going down the rabbit hole with this stuff because it branches off into different areas, and then you're finding that what you're doing in one project can actually enhance another project. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm just trying to stay focused on about two to three projects at a time, because if I go any more than 3 projects, then my head just goes crazy, and then it's not a good scene. Right? So.
Right? Oh, exactly. Then you never finish any of them, and it just lose your mind. But 3 is a magic number. Charlie, looks like you got something you want to show off there. Or?
I'm just wrapping as we speak. This new
nice. Building as we go, right?
Just kind of
that's dedicated work.
Thanks. Well, yeah, I'm excited to hear more about John Hutcherson. I think it's related to what we were just talking about. He mentioned the shape of the power cell, if it's sphere shaped, and if there's like sound or radio signals being passed through it, you can get an AC battery. So I'll have to ask
right. Yeah, 100%. And thanks for bringing that back up, because it's such a key development if one able to replicate that, and that the geometry of it being spherical, and then also putting these frequencies.
You know what?
Yes, Mr. Mike.
See, what I also noticed with the carbon graphite battery, I also noticed with the carbon graphite batteries, if you put it near, say, an AC appliance, that battery is going to start oscillating at the same frequency as the power source from what other devices nearby. So it's picking up that EMF reception.
Let's try that.
Yeah, so that's what that's doing, that's picking up the signal, the EMF signal of the frequencies coming off, and I'm guessing that they're
Yeah.
really high frequencies. So it's kind of like self-modulating itself as your electricity climbs up that magnesium and it's
Yeah.
on the outside. So it's kind of
Yeah.
multiplying it as it goes up. So I'm guessing
Yeah.
that if you
Like
put your magnesium a little bit closer, that it's going to generate a little bit more power as well.
it could. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, have you noticed that whenever it does,
You probably
what's
have to
that?
hook up a small little inductor to that battery in line in a series, and then if you put, say, a 60 hertz appliance beside it, it might get that battery to start oscillating, and like you said, hook it up to a small inductor, you might be able to get some more power out of it.
Yeah, this is very much like the
Yeah.
secondary of a Tesla coil. So might try it with the
Yep.
Tesla coil. See what happens when you push high voltage through it and just put the primary around it, like this red wire.
And then
Right. See,
the
this is
battery
what I
itself.
like it right here, combining potential Tesla coils into battery cells. Like this, that's the next
So-
level thinking, boys. Finally.
So Charlie,
No.
what you want to do is, if you're going to try that, hook up a small little inductor to the battery in series.
Okay.
Okay, and then turn your Tesla coil on and see if the light, LED light or whatever you're using, goes brighter, or even try to get a voltage reading on it if you can.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering what that's going to work at. If it's going to actually work at the 900 megahertz like a Tesla coil. I'm thinking it's probably going to be a little bit lower because of the magnesium and the spacing on it.
Could, yeah.
Because at that point, we can build a new Tesla coil. We can build like a Tesla coil 2.0. Because Julia and I was talking about this today on the phone, that 900 megahertz, around that range that Tesla coils operate in, that's our basic, that's the first cell phone signals that they used.
That's right.
Now they're reallocating that over to the police for them to use that band. And that's the reason we can't build large Tesla coils, because it would interrupt all the operation of that signal and all the communication on it. So if we
Yeah.
can figure out a different way, then we should just go ahead and build a Tesla coil 2.0. That's at a lower frequency, but still operating at the same. It may not be as efficient. It could be more efficient with different materials involved. Like if we use the silver, it could be way more efficient. It'd run a lot faster.
Silver wire is expensive.
And now I need more silver and more gold just to test out and make coils, more coils, coils, and coils out of silver and gold.
Some
And-
golden fleece.
Yeah, it's not a fleece if it turns into like a portal or a crazy life extending energies or anti-gravity, you know?
Yeah, so I want you guys to try like a pyramid design as well and run that magnesium up that, because that's going to generate that propulsion right out of the top of it. Because as it builds, it's deflecting on the inside, and it's going into you got to have it completely horizontal, so it's going in a horizontal range. It's going to amplify even more.
Yeah, actually, Tesla was working on some triangular pyramid-shaped coils. It's not very well documented, but he was dabbling with that, yes.
Yeah, Roy over at Vinny St. Vincent channel actually has built a few of them, at least conical ones that he connected in with some pretty good results. I'm going to be having him on our next Year of the Coil episode, so I will bring that up. Yeah, pyramid ones, definitely, Matt, is great idea. Pyramid power, like it's crazy, just the geometry of these structures and how it moves and harnesses energy throughout the universe.
We should try that whenever I get out there, Julia.
Let's do it.
Okay, so to answer that question on H. pylori, I don't really want to make any claims on that because I don't know exactly, and I don't have the data to back it up. So without all of that being on different social media platforms, I don't want anything tagged as, kind of information. So but if you email me, I will gladly send you some information as posted by our local commanders and chiefs. I'm sorry, I mean the news media.
Yes. Reach out privately, and we don't mind sharing the information. Do you got anything else to go over, Charlie or Mike here, or
I think we jumped
shall
to
we?
Matt stuff. Yeah.
No, I think I've pretty much covered everything.
Okay, Matt, do you want to just start out with just explaining your coils a bit, or did you want me to play that video first?
Well, let me say this and then we'll go over the video. I'll give you guys an introduction to the video. But first and foremost, the reason that all of this is so important, you'll see in this video, you may be required in the future to be able to get power by submitting yourself to certain things because people need your permission to be able to do things. So we're getting ready to watch a video about a woman at the Davos group at the World Economic Forum. And she's going over little earbuds that you wear in your ear, and they can read your brain waves. And this is all through AI technology, and they can tell what you're thinking. So going back to what I was saying, that's the reason it's so important to support these guys and follow these guys, because energy is a crippling effect on a lot of the economy, and these guys are teaching you how to do it. But whenever Bernie comes back, we can go ahead and watch that video. I think Bernie stepped out for like an hour. No, I'm just kidding. He probably, there he is.
Oh, I'm always omnipresent in the streams. It's just whether it's Bert and Ernie or, the bipolar split personality you're dealing with. Okay. Oh, actually, hold on one ticky. I'm going to play a short while I load up Twitter, because when you play YouTube movies through Twitter, it blocks the ads.
Hey.
Right? So screw you, Google, not paying me for my YouTube channel. We're not subjugating all of you to any more ads. I'm loading Twitter. And
Hey,
Sounds like
everybody.
Elon Musk did something good.
Get
right?
yourselves a pie hole.
Yeah, pie holes are.
All right, enough of that short clip, and I think I figured it out. Kaboomy. And where should I play from, Matt? From the beginning?
Just
no?
Yeah, just right when the woman comes up, I already explained it all. It goes through a little cartoon. Go back. Yeah, you can play it from the beginning, and then we'll watch it. It's only just a couple of minutes.
Your playlist shifts to your favorite song, sending chills up your spine as the music begins to play.
Wait, rewind it a little bit. Let her introduce it.
On your computer was finished.
Yeah, just
crime, be more productive, and find love.
There we go.
Let's roll.
You're in the zone. Even you can't believe how productive you've been. Your memo is finished, your inbox is under control, and you're feeling sharper than you have in a decade. Sensing your joy, your playlist shifts to your favorite song, sending chills up your spine as the music begins to play. You glance at the program running in the background on your computer screen and notice a now familiar sight that appears whenever you're overloaded with pleasure. Your theta brainwave activity decreasing in the temporal regions of your brain. You mentally move the cursor to the left and scroll through your brain data over the past few hours. You can see your stress levels rising as the deadline to finish your memo approached, causing a peak in your beta brainwave activity right before an alert popped up, telling you to take a brain break. But what's that unusual change in your brain activity when you're asleep? It started earlier in the month. You send a text message to your doctor with a mental swipe of your cursor. Could you take a quick look at my brain data? Anything to worry about? Your mind starts to wander to the new colleague on your team, whom you know you shouldn't be daydreaming about, given the policy against intra-office
Nate.
romance. But you can't help fantasizing just a little. But then you start to worry that your boss will notice your amorous feelings when she checks your brain activity and shift your attention back to the present. You breathe a sigh of relief when the email she sends you later that day congratulates you on your brain metrics from the past quarter, which have earned you another performance bonus. You head home jamming to the music with your work-issued brain-sensing earbuds still in. When you arrive at work the next day, a somber cloud has fallen over the office. Along with emails, text messages, and GPS location data, the government has subpoenaed employees' brainwave data from the past year. They have
Pre-crime.
compelling evidence that
Yeah,
one of
no
your
thanks.
coworkers has committed massive wire fraud. Now they're looking for his co-conspirators. You discover they are looking for synchronized brain activity between your coworker and the people he has been working with. While you know you're
What's
innocent
that
of any
Minority
crime,
Report
you've been
right
secretly
here?
working with him on a new
Yeah,
Yep.
startup
pre-crime.
venture.
Pre-crime.
Shaking, you remove your earbuds.
What do you think? Is it a future you're ready for?
She gets this like
No.
evil spark in her eye where she's just like,
You may be
yeah.
surprised to learn that
Dystopia.
Dude, that-
Dystopia at its worst. Do you
Would
want me to
anyone be
keep
married
playing it,
anymore?
or-
So she goes throughout this video, but the funniest thing, when she first comes up, she says, "Are you ready for this future?" A lot of people say no, but there's a few in the audience that say yes. And it's the greatest thing because it's just disassociation and everything else. But I mean, this is nothing that would ever be used for nefarious purposes, is exactly what she said. So I totally agree with her because, I mean, they could use this technology to actually go into plants and see what drives plants and see how they communicate to where we can communicate with plants and try to figure out how best to produce a better future so that we can grow more food and become more sustainable. But you kind of see the intention here. They're working on brains so that you can go to work. And this is what I was saying about the batteries. This is why it's so important. If you guys are not seeing this, if you're looking at this and you're not like, well, that looks dystopian, then you need to rethink why aren't they using this for betterment of mankind versus reading mankind? And this is one of the major things that we're fighting against, that Rife technology. This is why Julia was so helpful in coming on board, because she, like at the show, the MDNM show that she's going to tell you about, just she was so amazing and she jumped in last moment. Hunter was unable to actually travel out there with me, but we had a great talk. Julia filled right in. She got right on course. And now I'm getting ready to go back out to Laguna Beach so that we can open up the first Rife clinic. And we've got people lined up, all thanks to Julia. Julia hooked it all up.
Amazing.
Yeah, the conference was like, the convention was amazing. Like, it was, we met a lot of great people, made a lot of great connections, but there's something so powerful. Like, it's an honor to be able to be out there and meet these people and educate them on a technology and a modality that can cause a rippling effect, that can cause an inner healing with them. And then because it works on them, they're going to do what? They're going to tell everyone that they love and everyone close to them, around them. And then that ripples out. And so it's like, to be able to educate someone that and ignite, you're like igniting a healing from within. And that's powerful, like and I'm really into like ancestral bloodline stuff and healing bloodline stuff. And what to me is like, I'm almost flabbergasted by humanity of like how Royal Rife was treated and what happened to him, and what a better way to show him and to do right by humanity of like, we don't want to ostracize you. Like, what you did is amazing, and you were ostracized and ridiculed. And, what better way than to support that and that brand, that bloodline and everything. And so the conference was great. And even we're meeting with people next week that we met at the conference, and the people that came up, and then to see the look on their faces, because some of the people were familiar with Rife, and who Royal Rife was, and they couldn't believe that they were talking to a Rife, and then seeing their reaction and being able to capture it like on camera, you know, like it was exciting.
That's
Yeah, so I
I'm gonna be
sent
back
you a
in
couple
I'm gonna be back in a few minutes. I'm just gonna get stuff ready to show off the amazing Rife coils that you sent me here. So if you don't mind, just keep doing exactly what you're doing for about 4 or 5 minutes, and I will be back with the coils ready to go.
Yay!
Sounds good. So I sent Bernie a couple of different links. I sent him a whole list, but he can just play one or two when he comes back about the MDNM show. And actually, Bernie, if you want to go ahead and pull those up, there. I don't know if you can or not really quick. I don't want to hold you up. But yeah, I mean, it was wonderful being out there. And it seems like California people really know the history of Rife. There's been people calling left and right. We're, like I said, I'm going back out to Laguna. We're going to a sports place to be able to go set up inside there as a clinic. And then we're going into the grow industry in California and Denver. So, and Bernie's going to talk about stuff like that because we're kind of doing a spinoff. It's a little bit better because it's more technology today, but he's going to go into that a little bit later. Super interesting stuff, so stick around for it. Yeah, he does have the coils already. He actually went and picked them up right before the stream, and he got them. He hasn't even opened them, so we're going to walk him through it, let him check it out, see what his first responses are.
Oh, I didn't realize this was an unboxing channel.
Simon for the ad.
Well, I didn't know it was an organized channel either, but
Dude, I'm loving this new Bernie. That's like, look, you know, we're going to talk about this in this order. He was all organized tonight. It was, woo.
We're live on Rumble, on OdySee, on Twitter, on Twitch, on Facebook, and YouTube. And I'm making shorts, and I've got notes. And in chapter 3, after we go through the unboxing of the coils, we're also going to go through some ElectroCulture and 1920s electro farming experiments. We're organized. I'm always here. I know when y'all's talking about me. Please continue. I'll play the clips here in a couple minutes when I get back with the coils. So it's all on you for interesting conversation.
Well, I'm going to throw a little ad out there for Rife Technology because until we actually get into these industries, we're doing a lot of other things behind the scenes, and we're going to be just trying to build a little bit more. Like, I want to be able to go into the music industry with all of this. I even talked to Julie about this. I talked to Hunter about it today, to where we can help out with different musical concerts, to where there's a lot of things that go into it, but we're also going to be selling actual real crystals that are going to be pendants, and we're going to do like a giveaway because I was on a couple of podcasts here lately. So we've been making necklaces. Let me show you the bottom of it too. But we're making necklaces with real crystals because I was talking about someone recently who's been just doing stained glass, and he's calling them crystals, and it's just glass. It's just stained glass. Julia, did you enjoy the whole MDNM show? Because you really rocked it out there.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. And there was all these like brilliant engineers there. And I was like, we need to take these guys out and like get them to dance and show them a good time. Like it would be like The Hangover, you know, where they wake up. I was across the street from Disneyland where they wake up like, what did I do last night? Like you snuck into California Adventure and scared people. But we met and they had all these food trucks, and it was just to be able to walk around too and go to the different booths, you know, and speak to all the other people there that were there. And there's so many awesome people there, and just I like the people that don't know or that were closed off at first to it. And then the more that it was explained to them, they were more open of like, okay, you're going to break this down. Like, okay, electromagnetic fields, and seeing their minds kind of be open to it, more receptive to it. And then how they felt and being able to try it. And yeah, it's just, there's something powerful in that of like, we may not be super educated on frequencies, but that's the future. you know.
Speak for yourself on education and frequencies, man. No, I'm just kidding.
That's
I'm
right. I
kidding.
forgot. Know your crowd. I forgot everyone here and that's watching. You guys are already tapped in. I'm talking to you like it's a different crowd.
No, I'm just kidding. It really was like that because a lot of engineers were coming by, and there were a lot of people that come by and said, this is the future of medicine. But there were people that had questions and how it worked, and we was able to break it down in a fashion to where they actually understood it, because it's whenever engineers tend to overthink things a lot. There's something that's called over engineering, and it's all thanks to engineers themselves.
Yeah, you don't want to optimize something that shouldn't exist in the first place.
Oh, and it was so sweet too. There was this girl there who had amazing energy. I was like, she is fantastic. And I started talking to her, and she used to be a female wrestler, and she was always the
Yes.
antagonist. What do they call that in wrestling? That's the bad guy. I forget what you call it, but she was one of those, and so she had a lot of injuries. And I started talking to her because this girl that's in my belly dancing class was known as Little Egypt. Is one of the Glow girls, and like filmed a documentary on it. The girl is drop dead gorgeous, and she looks amazing. And anyway, so they were friends, and they saw each other at the funeral of one of the former wrestling girls recently. But she had all these injuries, and she had made a really sweet comment about Matthew and I, and I started speaking to her, and I told him about her. Like I went and was like, this girl's amazing. She's got a lot of injuries from, being a wrestler. We know the same people. And he's like, I'll be right back. He went and like literally donated to her one of the units. And it was like beautiful to watch. And like, that's really going to help her, so.
Yeah. So, and, she's going to give us a testimonial on it too. She's reached out to me, and I got to show you that email whenever I come back up there, Julia.
Oh,
But
sweet.
Whose police sirens are this?
That's me. That's Laguna Beach PD. I started muted. They're just doing their job. They're just letting all the taxpayers know.
Julia lives in the hood. And look, and a really nice
Called
hood.
LA, California. All right, and yes, Simon, this is an unboxing channel. If all of you lovely, beautiful souls continue to send me stuff, I will always open it up here. And
yes,
we
Simon.
will get to the Rife coils and machine, but Simon reminded me, shout out Aaron Cober, I still have to do an episode on the Tether cold hard wallet for crypto and the helium miner, crypto miner. That's helium crypto, not helium gas miner that Aaron sent me that I never did the unboxing episode of.
Oh, Aaron. I love Aaron.
Aaron's awesome, right? So with number 2, but number 1, not that you aren't Matt, but Sherry Ives, thank you for your third care package that you sent, and it was Sherry that sent me this book, ElectroCulture, that we will be going through in the next hour after we go through Matt's coils and the Rife coil technology. Send me stuff. I'll do unboxing all day long. Just for
Real
you, Simon.
unboxing.
Bernie just opened up a huge can of worms I'm going to take advantage of, because he
I
said
know,
that he
I was
will open
just
anything I
box and
send
box.
him.
I would want to send him a whole bunch of boxes.
Well,
literally, like,
now
little
that you
things.
say that, it will be open on
Christmas.
video and live stream on my channel, but some poor sap that will be getting the brunt of the pranks. Okay, let's see here. Now,
Da, 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 da.
oop, can't have Charlie's face blocked out. Get rid of this.
I know his accessories are
There we
amazing.
go.
Hey, you don't do that for me.
Yes, I do. I've just figured it out now.
Just pull on your chain.
But there are like our first interview streams back in the day where Mike was like literally covered up by the logo unintentionally for 99% of the videos. We're learning, right? Season 2, we're doing better. We're almost organized now. Your guys' words,
He's
not
getting a
mine.
format. I'm so proud of you, Bernie. This is amazing.
This is my favorite part whenever people open up the royal case because it's got clips on the
It's-
side and I can
it's
hardly ever get
beauty.
it open.
Zip
I
tie.
already got the clips on the sides. It's the I have to cut the freaking
You need one of these.
Or is that a zip tie?
zip tie. Yes, zip tie.
Al Capone's fault.
No, just a zip tie.
The more he struggles, the more that I'm going to take this and cut it up and edit it and put it on IG.
And that is why I am a professional and I don't struggle.
So are you a yakety sax man for that, or?
Ooh-wee.
Ooh, that's a pretty coil.
That's a very pretty looking coil. And another very pretty looking coil. Oh, backwards camera. There we go.
Your name. Yeah, it's blocking it.
So you shouldn't have any trouble tipping it up and showing it either. They won't fall out, but you want to take that foam out of the top just so it doesn't fall out.
Which model is this? The Royal or Gold?
Yeah, that's our largest model. That's the Royal.
Okay.
So they're what, like 10 inches, 8 inches in diameter?
They're 7 inches from pillar to pillar on the outside.
Okay. Hard to tell without knowing Bernie's hand size.
Very nice.
Yeah, it seems like Bernie's a giant guy because even when I hold this case, like, let's see. Yeah, my hand's not going.
How tall are you, Bernie?
It's like 10
6
feet
foot.
tall. Oh, I'm 6'1".
Same size.
He's just oddly sized in the hands.
Bernie.
Yeah, you know what they
What
say.
can I say?
Big gloves.
So there's the 2 coils connected to the wire to the unit. What do we have here, good sir?
So that's your amplifier. Everything's already connected. Only thing you have to do is put the coils up on a table or desk, plug in the power supply to the amp, and on the top you'll see bass, treble, and volume all at 25%. Do not go above that. The impeding resonance is going to feed back in, so that's pretty much maximum power because the terminating impedance, not impeding resonance.
Can you connect Bluetooth to that?
Yes. So he'll take another device and he'll connect via Bluetooth after he downloads the app. And it's just like any kind of Bluetooth speaker, except for the coils are going to take the place of the speakers. So this is alternating current that's going to run through. And then as they pass each other, it's going to switch back and forth, positive and negative. I think, what is it, a couple 100,000 times a second, or it depends on the frequency as well. But it's going to create electromagnetic fields. And it's going to help ionize the air. I've heard people say that even with these coils and them being double enameled, that they can smell plasma. They can smell atmosphere.
Yeah, the ozone.
Also,
Yep.
Arcing of it.
Have you tried electrolysis with it? Like if you put it in water, will it dissolve the enamel?
Yeah, you can sink these right into water and it won't cause a problem. We use marine grade everything, so you can put them in the tub with you. I do not suggest it. Don't do that.
Bernie.
And
Bernie's-
it'll like instantly start deteriorating the anode coil as soon as you would do that. So what I'm actually planning is putting them on the outsides of the reactions and then connecting another source in and experiment with putting the frequencies through the water that way first.
Right. So I was looking on the website. It says that you have to put them a certain distance apart, right?
Yeah, for optimum performance on it, because they do have a range that goes out. And I'm trying to figure out a way to measure like the standing waves versus non-standing waves. but I'm pretty sure that we're close to standing waves on it. So at that point, the frequencies are going to run throughout until they are absorbed. Just like in our atmosphere, whenever there's plasma activity, they say that goes away, but you're never draining that. You always have the plasma activity in the sky somewhere in the atmosphere.
Remember when Bernie hopped in on like Andreas' show from the bathtub?
What?
Were you guys there?
Yes, and it was because it was to get these donated to me. Matt was like, I was watching, and I was like, it was the first full stream you ever did, like first one after. I was like, oh, I didn't know Matt was going on Zerdus. So then you're like, for all the members of the panel right now, I'm giving a free coil.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, dude.
Oh, that is right.
Coil, it began in the tub. And people are like,
was off.
Don't try it in the bathtub. It began, you birthed it in the bathtub. Great. So you got your coil.
So not only will he open the box live on stream, but he'll open up himself.
Always. Well, frick, if you've ever done 48 hours, it's there's not much left of yourself that you haven't put out. It gets a wee bit ridiculous.
I didn't know you fell asleep on camera until, who was that? You and someone else was saying this story. Oh, that you were there.
Campbell might tell me.
Yeah. And
yes.
Yeah, it always ends with the person sleeping for a long period, but usually right before then, you're like a Pooh in The Simpsons going around like the hummingbird, like. Anyways, enough of that. Back to you guys while I clear some space and set these up properly so we can try plugging them in before it's all done and over today.
Yeah, sure. What do you want to first test the coils with, Bernie?
Well, to get the Z app going and running and, yeah, putting some frequencies through.
So I suggest using 40 hertz first. And what this is going to do, it's the perfect gamma wave. This is going to make you more alert on decision and logic making skills. And it's going to give you a sense of calm in the room. So, I mean, it's truly amazing. Like if you're overwhelmed, you can run 40 hertz and it's just sense of calm everywhere. So this is what I want to go into the music industry with directional antennas to be able to target different portions of the crowd. I can make it go with the beat of the music, with the natural heart rhythm, and be able to get people into the music more, or to be able to, like on a love song or write nice chill song to where we can create a sense of calm, no matter how much noise is out there. So this is the reason I believe that in ADHD, that it's a true like a gamma waves.
It's the law of attraction, and that this needed to happen so that we can take the Science of Sound series that we've been doing, that is exactly that same intention that you just stated with why you want to get into music, and combine them and move it forward. And we're doing the next episode with Ominous next Saturday. So you would definitely have to be here for that. All of
okay.
And so that will be one aspect that we'll try with these coils. And then the second, Matt, is you're mentioning that about charging water with them, and then creating the structured water, and that's one of the other main experiments I'll be doing, is structuring the same water each day for a control of the agricultural seeds I'm going to be doing this year and tests. So we got to figure out that and got to start structuring some water.
Well, go ahead and set them up. I'll go over that really quick so everybody can learn a little bit about it. So whenever you put water on the top, this is vortex torsion field technology. So you can set water on the top, you can set it on the side, and this is creating electromagnetic fields that will go into the water. It restructures the water molecule back to where it should be. So if you take a natural spring that's affected by the Earth's electromagnetic field, it has an alignment within the molecules of the water. Now, the people will pull all this water out. They'll run it through grounded metal vats. They'll run it through filters, which destroys that molecular structure. And now, whenever you put this back in, not only is it realigning all of the water's molecule structure, but it's also embedding all of this frequency into the water because it's missing all of this. It's missing a lot of energy that's in it. So you're going to be putting this frequency into it, and it's just going to help everything. So Uncle Roy was saying that there's no reason that people shouldn't even live to be 150 years old if they ionized every meal that they ate. And this includes liquids that they drink as well. So whenever Bernie does this and he drinks the water, he won't I think everybody will know what I'm talking about. Like when you drink water, you can feel the water go down through your chest, and you can feel it hit your stomach. Well, after Bernie does this, he will feel it absorb right into his body, and it will not get past this point right here if done correctly. So it's going to go right into the bloodstream. That's going to go throughout your body, and then that goes into extracting like the waste and everything out, like the urea, and that's actually your urine. Your urine is running through your veins before it ever goes anywhere.
So if I hook this coil up to my structured water vortex machine, will that enhance it?
Yeah, I think it will because if you're structuring it already, and a lot of people do this with magnets and they try to structure it, but it's not embedding all of these frequencies that are going into it. And I've done a couple of tests on this. I want Bernie to do it because the Alchemist guy, right? I want him to take clear glasses, put this structured water in it, and then take the regular water before it was structured and freeze them both. And he'll see a torsion energy that is frozen within. And I've done this, and the bubbles are actually elongated versus bubbles, and they'll freeze as they're going throughout. And it's really wild. I have no idea what's going on. Charlie, you
Oh
can probably
yeah,
explain
I've
that.
actually experienced a lot of what you're talking about right there, just with having a lot of my alchemy electrolysis monoatomic experiments lab outside in Canada, where it gets ridiculously cold in the winters. So even with the high salt concentrations in the waters and mixtures, they still usually end up freezing by the time it gets to like minus 30, 35 degrees Celsius, which exactly like you're talking, these elongated bubbles, the vortex shapes of the bubbles and structures and collectives of them, the self-organization of all of these molecules and how they form. It's absolutely amazing. And just so happens that, yay, Canada's end of February cold snap is forecasted as usually happens this time of year. So I'm sure I'll be able to get some nice chunks of ice to show off in the coming weeks.
Yeah, so Daniel Foster said the elongated bubbles are alpha wave paths. That makes, yeah, I didn't know this. I've never done any research on it, really. I want to look that up.
So when you do it for structured water, do you put it on the side of the container or one above and below?
So you can put it above and below is generally whenever it happens, like the quickest, because it is energy touching it, and it's vortex torsion field technology. And in electrical engineering, they say if you hold up your hand like this, that your field is going to rotate around the wire like this, even your left hand. So if you have like a full Taurus, was it Taurus? My mind just went blank. A donut. So, and you can see it right up above my head that, the fields would rotate like this going throughout. And within that circle, it's going to create an electromagnetic or a magnetosphere in the middle where it's going to be more concentrated. So it acts a little bit faster. It helps it out a little bit better.
Okay. And one coil is thicker wire than the other one, so it doesn't matter which one on top.
Yeah. So, no, it's not like it's not different wire gauges on each coil, but each coil has their own separate wire gauges. So there's a differential between the two because, and Jeremiah and I kind of disagree on this, but I have found that it kicks off Faraday rotation a little bit better to create that third EM field. So not only that, but the wires dictate the size of the EM electromagnetic fields. And so you're going to have something like a jeweler's hammer, and then you're going to have a sledgehammer. And you need both of these to be able to work correctly with the human body.
Speaking of, did Jeremiah receive his yet?
Yes, he has actually. Well, he got the gold, and then he was working on the gold, and I think he went and picked up the royal, but he had a little bit of delivery trouble. They tend to mess with their packages a little bit.
Jeremiah's probably so watched too. He's like, what's this guy getting?
Yeah.
Jeremiah is great.
He's
Yeah.
gold. He's gold
Say,
himself.
Heat score.
We had the most epic FaceTime conversation with him, like walking on Heisler Park in Laguna Beach. And Rife just happened to look up and mention this fog over Catalina. And then Jeremiah was like, what did you just say? And then just went,
Well, it's dust. It's not fog. It's the actual dust. He goes, "What dust are you talking about? Show me."
Oh, you mean the stuff that crosses the ocean? Or
Yeah.
White powdered ormus dust above the ocean, essentially. Like the
Yeah, I get-
monoatomics.
Yeah, it's highly charged isotopes, and Jeremiah is saying that they have anti-gravitational qualities to them. And I'll show you guys just a little quick video. on
and
it. It's
out by
on my
Catalina
channel.
in this area, there's like a bunch of USOs and UFOs that are seen in that vicinity too.
So you can see the layer up above it. And I'll go back to Catalina Island here in just a second. But you can see the separation between the ocean and the actual dust that's floating across, and there's tons of it out there. So whenever I go back out, we're going to go catch some dust and see how highly charged it is. Jeremiah was saying that you can flatten this down into a disc, and then I believe that all of the positive and negative charges up on it, that it's really going to just align everything perfectly, and you should be able to get tons of energy out of it.
yeah, I want to see what comes out if you put that in the scanning electron microscope.
I've been spraying like crazy the last few days. Like it's been like almost like a tic-tac. Like I haven't seen chemtrails like this since like 2002.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them, a lot of people on Twitter are talking about it, that they've been spraying in their area. And if any of you guys noticed, whenever they spray chemtrails, it always gets cloudy every single time. It'll be a couple hours. Where do you buy these? So you can go to my website, realrifetechnology.com. There, you can go to the resource tab and you can learn about the history of it and everything else. There's a lot of notes on there, but on the front page, you can just go to shop and it'll take you to the online store. And if you use the discount code SHOP, SHOP, on checkout, it'll give you 10% off.
Boop. There we go.
There it is.
Here it is. I will post it in the live chat for everybody. And yeah, there's some cool parts on this website, like under the Royal Rife's notes and stuff. You got some pretty good pieces up in here. For reference, we got to go through the microscope one still, do a whole stream or two on that with Jeremy. Of course, it doesn't load when you want it to, so we will get rid of that black screen. But yes, on that website,
go ahead.
The microscope notes that you have the blueprints up on there.
Yeah, that's one page of 3, and I want to get Jeremiah involved in this because there's an electrical and mechanical engineer out in LA that actually wants to rebuild the microscope, but we're going to rebuild it to version 2.0. We're going to have a little bit more technology in it, and I'm going to explain exactly how it works. And I think Jeremiah is the perfect person to step in and work with this because it has to deal with the refraction of light. It has a lot to do with frequencies, and Jeremiah is the perfect person.
Beautiful. I would love to help be a part of that or test one of those, co-build one of those. We should all try to build one.
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna release the other 2 pages. I just haven't had time to like sort everything out, but there's plenty more notes that are coming along.
Oh yeah, they need to be a little bit higher resolution though, because like I looked at them and some of the text is really hard to read, and like the line width and the style is really important for drafting. So
Yeah, I think a lot of that is the format that I put it in, and I'll try to clean all that up and put a higher resolution up.
Nice. Yes. So, are they labeled left and right, obviously, or positive, negative?
How do you know
There's
what
one that says sit on, and the other one says on top of the head.
Okay. Under, over.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. That's what. No, you can just set them up anyway, but like for the maximum, like, my brain is slipping tonight. Jetpack.
Maximum benefit, you essentially want one underneath your chair going up and then, or bed going up, and one from your roof going down.
Well, I was going to say efficiency and efficacy, that you need to have them 12 feet apart, but I like your idea.
12 feet, hey? What about when charging the water, like making structured water and stuff?
No, you're fine. The water you can set on top, but you can put them 4 feet apart, and you're just as long as you're within that range. And when I'm talking about efficiency and efficacy, it's to get the most range out of it, because there is an optimum level in between.
You know, it'd
And
be
you
really
want them-
interesting.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, what'd be really interesting is build an orgone accumulator and put your coil inside the accumulator.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That is a good idea.
That'd be
Well, it
really
was-
good.
I think I've seen that done a little bit. Question about the Bitcoin. If free energy came out, I think it would actually increase the value and mass adoption and usage of crypto technologies if there was free energy for them.
Well,
And-
I don't know. I would have to push back on that some, because the value of Bitcoin is actually held by the amount of electricity it takes to run every bit of the ledger on it. So it
Well,
takes a lot to be able to do that, and I think that's the reason it's holding its value. So I think it's a little bit more of a controlled situation on that too.
Yeah, right. Like the whole economy is going to be rewritten if everything was the cost of energy disappeared instead of its exponential 3x over the last 2 years.
I finished the power cell as designed. It's ready to water and have it go. Let's see if I can get it in the video here. So right now it's at
Charlie.
400 millivolts, and as soon as we add water, it should go up to a few volts. Get in here. Okay, ready? Here we go. Time to water the crystal power cell.
Hmm.
There you go.
1.7.
Yeah, that's about what I got. 1.7, 1.8.
Yeah.
Is that distilled water or just regular tap water?
Just regular tap water.
There you go. Make about 4 or 5 of those.
Got another one.
Do you have a Tesla
Awesome.
coil nearby?
Yeah, I've got 3. I've got several.
Oh yes, Charlie definitely does.
Try to kick one of those on and see what that voltage goes up to.
Okay.
Because you're going to positively ionize every bit of the air around it from that plasma activity.
Sure, I should pick up some.
Try to run at 60 hertz, because that's what Mike was saying his reaction was from. I don't know. Do you Canadians have 60 hertz?
Yep. Yeah, 60 hertz, 120 volts.
We work on metric electricity.
Yeah, so it's like so many millihertz.
Simon, you're in Canada?
Yeah, I'm actually one of the weird French kind.
Oh, you're in Montreal?
Bisou.
Are you in
Do they still-
Montreal?
I'm from Montreal, but I'm living in Toronto.
Oh, okay. I'm not far
Do-
from you.
Do they still require the kids in Montreal to learn French and English?
I mean, in Montreal, you can kind of get away without learning French, but you really should.
Yeah, I'm like 30 minutes from you. You live in the downtown core? Or?
Oh no, I'm near High Park.
Oh, okay. I
I'm
know.
not that far.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm in Milton.
yeah, you're just near the airport.
Yeah.
This is why Canadians are so great. In America, we don't dare give out where we live at.
I mean, Toronto's kind of like the biggest city in the country, so
Yeah.
good luck finding me, I guess. I mean, it's not like it's a secret who I am or anything, but
Yeah, my father used to live in High Park.
it's a nice place, but really expensive for what you get there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You lived right at Keele and Bloor, if you know where that is.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
really
that's
surprised.
hop, skip, and a jump from here.
Yep.
It's conducting. You can feel some shocks from it. Can't get too
Yeah, I'm
close.
surprised that wasn't kicking up. Maybe get a little
Ooh.
insulator.
Look at the flame.
Know what you got to do? You have to put a ground on the battery to earth ground. That might actually do it.
Yeah, because then it'll draw it down.
Well, you're going to get the electrons from the ground.
Charlie,
So-
is that a plasma flame speaker?
Yep.
Charlie, put a ground on the cathode and hook that to earth ground if you can.
Okay.
I don't know if you have access to an earth ground.
Yeah. Let's changed his name. That other channel, M something Energies. He's gonna come on in a couple weeks, but he does a lot of that with the Tesla coils and then the grounding wire.
Oh yeah, that's key.
Oh yeah, the
definitely
little diode antenna
Yeah,
thing that he has. Yeah, that's really neat design.
Yeah, so he said he'll be coming on in the next week or two as well, so that'll be awesome.
Grounding that. It's not that much.
You did not miss the ElectroCulture stuff. Whoever that was that commented that.
Oh my goodness!
But thank you for the reminder.
ElectroCulture, a whole nother chapter. I'm gonna have. We're gonna have to do ElectroCulture next time. I just realized. My goodness. Or the wife will kill me, one or the other. Divorce me.
Staying about the same. Like ground wire now to the magnesium strip. It's still 1.6.
No difference.
Hmm.
Fascinating.
Here. 6.
So what do you guys think the reaction is that's going on here? Because if you're not collecting this from the air, then there's some kind of chemical reaction maybe that's going on between
It's like a crystal.
It's the reaction with the air in the magnesium. That's where the reaction's happening.
I think as the crystalline structure in the magnesium grows, that's what creates the voltage. And you'll see the magnesium start to grow. I've had this for multiple months, almost over a year. And yeah, the magnesium will start to crystallize. That's what's creating the voltage.
Well, even in like lithium-ion batteries, the crystal structure growing is what causes deterioration in those as well.
Yeah, they start building up heat, and that's when you get the explosion. The best battery out there to use if you're going to use a lithium type battery is a lithium iron phosphate battery. They're a dry cell. They're way lighter than any other battery out there, but they are a little bit pricey. And the recharge cycles on a lithium iron phosphate battery is like 20,000. It's like almost like a capacitor lifespan.
It looks like Bernie's setting up the coil there. I like the Z app. A lot of people are talking about in the comments. It's good to search for illnesses. Is there a way to search based on frequency?
So you can't search based upon frequency but the Z app is not mine. I'm building a platform to where you can cross-reference everything, and I'm also going to have everything posted on the website through a PHP that I'm doing, and it'll all be free for anybody to search throughout.
Cool.
Yeah, we're really going to need a list of both the ones to use and the ones to avoid.
Yeah, there's actually some that you should not play, and this is what I was thinking about whenever Simon was talking about like the different levels of frequencies that he's reading, because there's some low frequencies that you just don't want to play, and they're not even on the Z app.
Yeah, and so these are things that we need to fully go over and do a whole next episode on, as well as the agriculture one that we shall quickly cover, but it won't be a full episode. It's just a teaser on ElectroCulture, and that you're talking about putting these coils into the ground and earth mat to increase yields. And Mike, we've also talked about some similar experiments, and that we're going to be putting together some control seeds and cloning going forward this spring of like lettuce, spinach, and kale and stuff, trying the different waters versus tap water and monoatomic waters, as well as microwaved water.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to be building a different coil that I've designed for the grow industry, just because I want to be able to adjust like the terpenes and the THC levels that they get and they produce. But all their plants should come out healthier. All of their flowering should come out more bountiful. Or why is my brain just glitching tonight?
I'm tired.
But everything is just going to come better, and I'm also running a 2,000 watt amp for whenever we hook up in a facility. So we're going to have a higher ohm rating on all the coils, and that's the reason I have to use a higher amp to where the higher ohm rating to where you get the real frequencies throughout. Now, my research shows that 528 is the best to ionize your water at. And 5,000 hertz is the best for your plants.
Yeah, I use 528 hertz in my structured water. Or 432.
And one Mike's saying are both solfeggios as well.
Yeah. But 528 works really well.
Yeah. And 528 is what the sun resonates at.
Yeah.
And it's also the frequency of love.
I did not know either of those. But for the next episode we will be doing, sometime in the next week, we will do a full first episode of the agriculture series and this electro culture that everybody interested and wants to partake in it. In that time, go to forgottenbooks.com and you can get and download the PDF of these electroculture short book and experiment results of official government tests from the 1930s and 1920s, which we will fully discuss in the next episode, as well as it's going to be a full series, of course. And that's why Year of the Coil will continue, because now we're going to be testing all of these coils and figuring out the frequencies and fields. And we still have half the season of Year of the Coil before we move into Year of the Super Fields. which by that time we're gonna be playing with fields, man.
I could just, for some reason, I could just picture Bernie in the bathtub with the Rife coil beside
That's
him.
how it started.
No,
He's like, I charged the water and my body amplified it. Oh, take pictures.
that's
I want to make
maybe
memes.
turning it on outside next,
Maybe
but
maybe Bernie will start growing leaves or something. You'll start germinating.
turn
No,
into,
Bernie.
Groot.
If you and your wife run this tonight, and this isn't medical advice, this is not
No, I'm
any
gonna
kind
be
of substantial
leaving it
data.
right here. I have to drive across the city and make it over to the wife's place, who's waiting for me for dinner right now that I am late for. But thus, I'm going to leave this right in the spot and come back and start attending to it tomorrow and setting up in full for the next episode and working on it. And
Well, the
Bigger
first time that you guys run it, make sure it's at night because it could it be readjust your natural melatonin levels in your body. You're going to sleep like a baby. You're going to wake up full of energy and you're going to wake up not even sore. The inflammation will disappear. Your mitochondria is going to be excited and you're just going to feel 1,000% better. Possibly could it be?
well, I feel that will be an experience we're going to share together on the next one as I turn it on live and we'll get
Go
some
to sleep.
Streams.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Bernie in the bathtub.
Yes, the birth of the coil.
That's your guys' last thoughts on this episode, and they chose to think of Bernie in the bathtub. So
It's karma for the only cams, Bernie.
it's a thing. Only cams, that is. Where is
Yes.
there's a reference.
Yes.
Where's that
Autodidactic.
All right.
Well, this is amazing, guys. Thank you. Thank you for having us. I love you
Thank you, Renee.
guys. Appreciate you. Magical night.
And thank you all for participating and making this multi-stream. And Mike, I promise next time we'll actually be live on your channel too, as we were also live on Rife Technologies and Charlie C YouTube channels tonight. And we just keep on growing. Till the next one.